February 26, 1959, a Soviet search party reached the slope of a mountain. The locals had a name for it. They called it the Mountain of the Dead. What the search party found that day was classified within weeks, officially explained within months, and it has never made sense. Not once, not in 65 years. There is one detail in this case that every documentary skips. One man in that group who should not have been there. A man with tattoos nobody could translate, aliases nobody could explain, and a notepad found in his dead hands that disappeared from the official record entirely. We'll get to him. January 23rd, 1959. 10 young hikers boarded a train in Sverdlovsk. 9 of them were students at the Ural Polytechnic Institute, experienced, certified, the best of their generation at this. Their leader, 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, had designed the route himself. Grade 3 difficulty, the highest certification the Soviet Union issued. One hiker turned back on day 5 with joint pain. That decision saved his life. He was the last person to see any of them alive. But there was one addition to the group that nobody has fully explained. At the very last minute, Dyatlov was told a new member would be joining, Semyon Zolotaryov, 37 years old, a World War II veteran. Nobody in the group had ever met him. He had tattoos on his body, including one word that no researcher has ever successfully translated. He used multiple aliases, and according to one of the female hikers' diaries, written 4 days before they died, he seemed perfectly at ease. The last diary entry was written on the night of February 1st. It read, "Nice and warm. Can't imagine such comfort on the ridge, with howling wind outside, hundreds of kilometers away from human settlements. Whoever wrote it was dead within hours." What the search party found 26 days later defied every explanation they tried to apply to it. The tent had been cut open from the inside, not torn, not blown apart, deliberately cut with a knife from within. 9 people fled into negative 30-degree temperatures without boots, without coats, without the equipment, sitting 3 feet away from them. And here is the detail that stops every serious investigator cold. The footprints leaving the tent showed no sign of panic, no running, no stumbling. 9 people walked calmly, in a measured pace, away from their shelter and into the dark. The first 5 bodies were found scattered across the slope. Some were partially undressed, a phenomenon hypothermia can cause in its final stages, where victims feel a burning heat and begin removing clothing. But that explained nothing about what came next. When the snow melted in May, 4 more bodies were found in a ravine, buried under 4 meters of snow. These 4 told a different story entirely. Fractured ribs, a crushed skull, injuries the forensic pathologist described as comparable to the force of a high-speed car crash, but with no external wounds, no bruising, no skin damage whatsoever. Then somebody tested the clothing for radiation. Several items came back contaminated. One of those items belonged to Yuri Krivonishenko, a nuclear engineer who had spent the previous 2 years helping the Soviet government quietly contain a nuclear disaster that the world would not learn about for decades. The Soviet investigator closed the file in late May 1959. Cause of death? An unknown, compelling, natural force. But before he closed it, he made one phone call, and what he was told changed everything he thought he knew about who was actually on that mountain. Semyon Zolotaryov was not just a ski instructor. Researcher Alexei Rakitin spent years building a case, supported by Soviet-era intelligence documents, that Zolotaryov, Krivonishenko, and a third member of the group were KGB operatives. Their mission was not to climb a mountain. It was to make contact with CIA agents operating in the Ural region, hand off radioactive material, as proof of Soviet nuclear capability, photograph the Americans, and disappear back into civilian life. The radioactive clothing was not accidental contamination. It was the delivery package. And if the CIA agents realized they were being photographed, being identified, the response would have been immediate, and it would have left no external marks. There is one final detail that nobody official has ever explained. When the rescue team reached the bodies in the ravine, one witness reported that a notepad was taken from Zolotaryov's hand, not bagged as evidence, taken personally by a senior rescue official. That notepad does not appear anywhere in the 1959 investigation file. It has never been mentioned in any declassified document. Only one person remembers seeing it, and that person is dead. In 2019, Russia reopened the case. In 2020, they closed it again. Avalanche, they said, an overwhelming natural force, the same words they used in 1959. The original tent, the single most important piece of physical evidence in the entire case, was thrown in a basement. For 25 years, staff used it as a seat cushion. Then it was thrown in the garbage. The file exists. The evidence existed. Someone decided neither needed to survive. The pass still bears Dyatlov's name. 9 people walked calmly into a night that killed them all. And somewhere, in a record that was never burned, only misfiled, the real answer is still waiting.